Welcome again to For Families podcast. This is where we have conversations on parents, on children, for families. My name is Isabella Adediji. I'm excited to be here because I get to learn. I get to go on a journey with you as we get deeper and deeper in issues that sometimes we don't talk about. So today, I have to say it too, we are very unkind to women. Like society, you can do better with women. And I say this because you look at the comments online. I mean, let's even look at something like childbirth, right? What is natural birth? What does that mean? Because someone didn't have a vaginal birth, you now say a cesarean section is not natural. What is that? How do we start grading the experiences women go through to enter motherhood, really? And then you think about motherhood, and I don't know whether it's in interscience or biology that has taught us that there's only one way to have children, meaning that husband and wife will engage in sexual intercourse, the sperm will swim to the egg, and the woman gets pregnant, she carries the pregnancy and gives birth. We have gone past that. Technology is evolving. Yes, there's IVF. IVF is not something that you should look down on a woman because the woman has decided to use IVF or go through the path of IVF. Do you know why they had to choose IVF? IVF is painful. I haven't experienced it, but I've spoken to people. What about the emotional turmoil, not being sure whether it's going to work? Now, let's talk about even surrogacy. You say, oh, surrogacy, is that child really your child? What do you mean, is that child really their child? Is it not the same spermatozoa and the egg that have been fertilized? So because the woman did not carry it by herself, it's now not her child. Please, let me understand. Something that belongs to you. Whether it's in your bag or in another person's bag does not mean that you is not your own. Like, how do we get off crucifying women for using surrogates? Another woman is carrying a woman's child. You now say that child is not the woman's child. Why? How? And do you know what led that woman to go down that path? Do you know how much these things cost? Do you think it's cheap? Really? Do you think a woman would just wake up one day and say, oh, let me go and do surrogacy. Let me go and do IVF. Do you know what it takes? Like, you can tell that this thing is dear to my heart because I feel like there are a lot of women, there are a lot of families that are being denied the joy of raising children because minds are closed towards what science can do. Whether it's IVF, is surrogacy, or even adoption, yes. We'll get to that. But today, this surrogacy matter, we are going to deal with it. And I'm so glad because, this one is not me that is coming to talk to you because I've never used a surrogate. But the person that is coming, I can't wait for you to meet our guest. I really can't wait. If you're on the streets of social media, you probably know my guest. But For Families podcast, we have to do the introductions right. Yeah, she needs no introduction. Where do I even start from? She's a mom. Yeah, we're speaking about surrogacy. So yeah, she's a mom. She's a wife, a happy one too. She's someone that creates content around family, food. Check out her recipes. She likes to discuss about life issues. She's talked about surrogacy, and a part of me was like, would she want to come on this show when she has already discussed it? So she's not going to do all those perspire to expire to respire. This is someone that keeps it real. Sometimes she'll just set mic and there's a burning issue. She'll just set her phone and she will discuss it. I mean, she's a public health consultant. So the health too is there. This is not someone that is just doing it because, everybody doing social media content. She is licensed. And then again, she has the most beautiful cookware. If you want to know about healthy cookware, you're using cast iron, enameled cast iron. She will school you. And then different colors. Like in my house, I have green, I have red, I have orange, I have the bare cast iron. So Radiance Cookware, she is the CEO. And really, she's a lovable person. And I'm not saying it because she's on set here. Because you know how you just slide into someone's DM, you talk to them, and they will answer your questions. I mean, I can ask questions for Africa, but she won't even even make you feel somehow like, why are you asking this question? Maybe there's a video there. She's really warm, personable, and I'm so, so glad that she said yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome my guest, Nancy Umeh. Did I say she's also a fashionista? I mean, just look at it now. She's giving us Naija, top to bottom.
Wow, my head is about to blow. This is Isabella. She introduces you. Wow. Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad.
Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. And when I asked you if you would come on the show, like, are you tired? And you're like, no. I was like, thank God. Because see this surrogacy thing, we go enter them.
Yes, sir.
We go enter them. No, let me be, steez and composure. This surrogacy thing, we're going to discuss it because I think so many families, not just the women, the families are missing out on that opportunity. But before we jump into surrogacy, I want to even understand, like, being a wife, a mom, if at any point that surrogacy thing ever crossed your mind, let's go back to the beginning of, your journey into marriage and parenting.
Okay, so I think my own situation is quite different because I had 2 kids already. So everybody I approached, I'm talking to doctors now, they were like, what are you looking for? You have a boy, you have a girl, Nancy, you've gone through a lot. It's okay, just let it go. If God blesses you, fine. But I was just like, you know how when you're dating, you guys talk about how many kids you want to have. I won't say it's a large family. I come from a relatively large family. So we were 4 growing up. And we had cousins living with us. We had my dad been married at some point when we lost our mom. So we had, we had a lot of people growing up around us. So I didn't want my children to have just each other, just to have one sibling. I wanted a bigger family. And, we started trying after I took out my family planning. So the way this whole surrogacy thing happened was so funny because I had a twin pregnancy. My son was a twin, and we lost his twin in the US. And it was very traumatic. So I didn't even come back to Nigeria before I put that
when
family
you say
plan.
You lost him, you gave birth to twins?
In utero, yes.
Okay.
So he lost his twin in utero, and we had to, and throughout the pregnancy I was on bed rest. We spent a lot of money having him in the US. So when we came back, before we even came back, I had already put that implant on, family planning implant. So because I just didn't want to get pregnant again, because I had my son when we got pregnant for our son when she was 5 months old. So yeah.
I don't understand.
Yes, my children are 1 year apart.
So wait, yes. The doctor said, this is the time you have, and you're like, okay, let's get back into it.
I didn't even know. So the thing is, I had my daughter, everything was fine, then she was 5 months old and I was pregnant again. I was like, how? I have PCOS. How am I getting pregnant back to back like this? I don't know. But the thing is,
for those that don't know, like, what's the effect of PCOS on getting pregnant?
So the good thing about PCOS is that you will recruit a lot of eggs. You have higher chances of having multiples. When you are fertile, because whether we like it or not, what we've seen with the research is that you are more fertile when you are younger and you've managed to control all your symptoms, because it's a syndrome. It has a lot of symptoms, and you have to, if you're able to get your symptoms under control, get your periods to be stable, to come every month, you're pretty much fertile, very fertile when you're young. When I mean young, I mean under 25. So the thing about PCOS, sadly, is that the older you get, the more difficult it becomes to take in. So I guess I was in my fertile, phase of life, because almost 5 months after giving birth, I was already pregnant with twins. And I did nothing. I didn't do any IVF. I thought I would have to do IVF to have children because of my history. But then, thankfully, thanks to God, everything went, well. Then this twin pregnancy came that took me in and out of the hospital for 9 months with a high BP. And then eventually my son, we lost our son. And then I was just like, I don't want to go through this again. Let me do family planning because I don't understand the way my eggs are just shooting before I gotta get pregnant for triplets again.
In
So
5 months'
yes,
time.
I didn't want that to happen. So as soon as our son came, we just in that US, I just said I want implant, I want to do it. I want to get it over with. So I did that, and it was 1 year later. I felt like we're ready for our third. Let's take it out, and then we took it out. And then I was looking for my periods, up and down the whole Lagos. I say, hey, God, I beg, where are my periods? He didn't come. And that's where the issues started. We started trying and trying to get this period back. No way. In fact, before the periods disappeared, I actually bled like 6 months straight. So I'm just saying that
It's when you
women...
say you bled 6 months straight.
I'm saying everyday period. I'm saying
You mean
having to go
you
to the
were
hospital. Like everyday tampon, everyday pads, yes. Women go through...
with the symptoms too?
with the symptoms. So the thing is, people don't talk about it enough. Family planning. If more men can just come out and just do vasectomy in peace, let everybody just rest, because women's bodies are going through a lot with these hormones. So you will never know how your body's going to react to anything. And you just go in blindly and then boom, you're bleeding back to back. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. For me, it was 3 months straight. And then after that 3 months mark, I had taken like everything under the books, in the books, to get it to stop. And then it started coming back. My regular periods, they're coming back. And then I just didn't see them anymore. Like, it was just so strange. I was like, what kind of... I used to have my regular 28-day cycles. And then after I took out that family planning, that was the beginning of wahala for my body. Because it was just all over the place. It's either I'm over bleeding, I'm bleeding back to back, or I'm not bleeding at all. Or there's no period. So, yeah. I had to now go back to, fixing one symptom after the other. That's when I had the full-blown PCOS. When I was younger, it was like, yeah, I can still manage. If I fast a little bit, I do my exercises. I was really trying to manage the symptoms. I was making sure I wasn't overweight. But then, after I had my son, it just became a full-blown syndrome. I just couldn't find my periods. I couldn't get them to come back. Eventually, after, seeing dietitians, seeing everybody, I started having 31-day cycles. I was like, oh yeah, thank God, they're back. Let's start trying.
Wow.
Voila.
That
Voila.
alone, I can't even begin to think about just the emotional turmoil, because when you're looking for it, you don't find it. Now that it has come, yeah, come and be going, is not going.
Voila.
And then not knowing. I think that's the one that would just finish me like, okay, when does this end? Like with a pregnancy, okay, at so time the baby's going to come. But that's a lot. Like women are really going through a lot. And I stand by what I said, that society is not kind, because you think that after going through all of this, whatever you choose to do, people will be, first of all, it's not in their place to give approval or not, but people will show empathy at the very least.
I don't believe that Nigerians are not, empathetic, or is it empathic? Which one? They just need more understanding. So what I've noticed since I came out to say, okay, I went and I got a baby via surrogacy, is that Nigerians actually, first of all, are shocked. They're like, wait, what? Why would you come out and say this? Like, I know in my life, I know 2 people that wore prosthesis and pretended like they were pregnant. Because since I've been coming online to talk about infertility, people are just like, yo, there's some things you don't come out and say in the open. Why are you talking publicly? What do you want to gain from this? Can you just keep your issues private? Nobody needs to know that you're looking for a child. Why do you need to come out and say this? And I'm like, because I know people who have been shamed to the point that they have to wear prosthesis. You know what it takes to be going to Zenith Bank, for example, every day, and you're wearing prosthesis, and you're buying different sizes on Amazon, and you buy 3 months to 5 months, then you now start wearing 6 months. Like, why would anybody have to go through that just because they are scared to tell people that somebody else is carrying my twins? Somebody else is carrying my child.
When you say it's making me even appreciate it's so much because it's like a whole act, like a
Yeah,
whole charade. I mean,
yeah,
I didn't even think about the different, because now you're trying to show 2 months,
yes.
3 months,
People, I say I have
and then
friends
maybe
that bought.
feigning symptoms too.
Yes, like
So even the way you walk, you will change it. And when people ask you,
the
that's
ones
a
that hide and hide
lot.
for 9 months, hide for 9 months. The ones that have to be at work actually fake it because of what people will say. And that is why it's important to have this conversation. That's why when our people will be asking, why did you have to say it? I said, because of you. Because of you, yes. Because you will go out and tell somebody that suffered for 20 years plus that their child is not their child because you didn't see them push. Or, like, seriously, Nigerians need to understand. And once they understand, they get it. They know that, okay, it truly is your child. That's your genetic material. Even if it's not your genetic material, you adopted that child. You have that child. Like, it doesn't matter how you became a parent. You are a parent. You have enough love to give that child. And that should be more than enough. But it's something that you need to keep hammering because Nigerians will ask you questions and they will shame you. And so the more we have these conversations, the more we normalize it. We normalize it and we tell people that, yo, there's technology. That's what's available now. And now the infertility rate has gone up, and you know about it. A lot of people are really suffering. Maybe it's our diet, it's our lifestyle, it's the exposure to a lot of toxins. But we have a fertility issue right now. There are less than 30-year-old men that are azoospermic, no single living sperm cell in their body. And you're wondering how come? How did it disappear? So we're having women that are just flat out no single eggs in their ovaries at 30. So you're wondering what's going on. People are menstruating at 8 years. They're using up all their reserves before they're 30. And we don't have any explanations for these things. Definitely something going on. So we need to embrace technology fast because if not, there'll be plenty of depression. People are going through a lot. Like I said,
I can't even
a lot.
imagine because I know there are people who have been shamed for even trying IVF. There's almost the same way people are shamed for using for having a cesarean
That
section.
one is even
It's
painful.
the same way some people are like, is IVF. There's that need to make a distinction, and it's almost like indicator is like, okay, you have IVF, maybe surrogacy, then adoption. Like, and I'm sure people would have asked you, like, have you tried IVF? Why did you try surrogacy? Or some people say, oh, it's because you want to watch your shape.
Yeah, so I still got fat now. I still got fat because I breastfed. So the thing is, the IVF, the way we started having IVF, so the thing is we had IUI first. And then
This what is IUI?
IUI is when you take your husband's sperm. It's not invasive. It's just
Okay.
an insemination. So you take your husband's sperm, you sort of like wash it up. By washing, I mean they take the active motile sperms and then they inject it into you when you are very about to ovulate. So you
So
take
you have to go
medication.
to the hospital for them to do
Yes,
that.
so you take medications to recruit more than one egg usually. So Clomid is what most people take, and they take Clomid or they take Clomid and an injection, so just so they can make sure that your eggs are ovulating when you want them to ovulate. So the sperm is washed and then it's inseminated, and hopefully we just hope that it will find its way to the egg. So it's blinded, so the doctors want to be able to see when they do IVF. They want to be able to carry that sperm and put it inside and then do the ICSI and make sure that, okay, the egg and the sperm have finally met. So we know for sure that there's an embryo. In IUI, you don't get to see. You just hope to God that the sperm finds its way there and fertilizes the egg. It's not as invasive as IVF, where you have injections inside of you every single night for almost 30 days.
Wait, every single night I mean, I don't like
Yeah. It
injections. I
depends on
can't
the
imagine
protocol. Some hospitals nowadays are using shorter protocols, so like 2 weeks.
2 weeks of injection
Daily
every
injections, not one injections.
injections.
So, and some of them towards the end is quite painful. And even after you have done your cycle, sometimes if you get pregnant, you still have to take some medication just to stop, because it's a different type of pregnancy. It has to be chemically supported by hormones, so you have to keep taking these hormones. And these injections are not just regular, hormones.
I'm just learning that the injection taking doesn't stop after you are pregnant. It continues.
Sometimes up to 3 months. Yes, like my surrogate took injections till 3 months. and she had to have like vaginal pessaries inserted because you need your progesterone. It's an artificial uh, situation. You're putting an embryo in a place that has been prepared chemically, so you actually have to mimic the body's the whole body prepares for a pregnancy by releasing this hormone, so you have to constantly feed these hormones to the body so that the body doesn't eject that embryo as a foreign object.
So
Yeah.
doesn't I don't know. I hope I don't sound foolish, but
No.
is it not like when there's an embryo, the body will automatically tell like that we're pregnant? So guys, do what you need
It
to
takes a
do.
while. So the way the brain works with
Oh
hormone
wow.
production is it has to have started producing that hormone before the baby even entered. The way
Oh,
ovulation works, and the ovulation to missing your period to the actual first phase of the pregnancy. An embryo is at day 5. That's already a 5-day-old baby. And you just carry a 5-day-old baby. You can't just carry a 5-day-old baby and put in a uterus, for example, that is not prepared.
good.
The uterus has to be thick. It has to be filled with like blood vessels ready to grab that baby and hold on to it. And then when you now hold on to that baby, it needs to be able to stay thick and not shed, because the way the body works is when we say our period, our uterus builds up, waits for a baby. It doesn't see a baby, it sheds.
Sheds.
So if you don't keep up with that hormone that stops it from shedding, that hormone that the pregnancy actually produces by itself, it will shed if you just let go of that
Wow.
baby. So if it doesn't matter if the baby is there, the body knows the baby is there, but it's like, where is the hormone that is supposed to tell me to hold on to this baby? I don't
Wow.
have it, so I'm just gonna let go because I don't think something is right here. So yeah, the body would have started producing progesterone before like the embryo is even day 1. Actually, by day 5, the embryo is not 5 days old. It's about 3 weeks ish old. So that's why you need that support. If not, the body will eject it like a foreigner. Like, yo, what is this? Get out! I want to shed.
This is a lot.
It's a
No,
lot.
this is a lot.
You
And
still have to
I
take
think
meds.
there's also
Yes,
that fear of, okay, even when you do IVF, it might not work.
it's
Like
sad.
before you considered surrogacy, was
Mm.
IVF on the table?
I
Like
done almost a dozen artificial procedures. So IUI and IVF, yes,
IUI and
and
IVF.
IVF,
IUI is the one that's not invasive.
yes,
IVF is the one that is invasive.
yes, yes. So the thing is,
Wait, I want that to sink in, because when I think IVF, I'm learning IUI for the first time. I think money, because these things are not cheap.
so if you want to go there, we're gonna go there.
Yes, because these things are not cheap. Because someone
They're
will
not
sit there and
cheap.
think that, okay, this is the easier way.
It's not. Do you know how when I see people that, I get triggered when I see content creators saying, like this. There was this trend that was happening recently. There was someone that did something on TikTok, and I saw it and I got triggered, and I commented. I was like, why am I even commenting on this page? She said, I don't use family planning. Was I never something about bragging about not needing family planning because naturally you can start and stop whenever you want. I think women are going through a lot of issues, and I just felt triggered, and that was when I realized that, wow, this IVF did a number on me. Like, when people boast about being able to stop having kids when they want to because they're that fertile, getting pregnant whenever they want to, it's like, wow, you don't know what people go through to get pregnant, to get that pregnancy positive result. And then it's not like I wasn't getting pregnant. I was. I would say that my IVF cycles were quite, it was not as unfortunate as some people, but it was coming down. Like, it was just coming. I was just like, so I had an issue after I took out my implant on. That's the reason why, my doctor said, you know what, just stop. My uterine lining was not getting thick enough to hold a pregnancy. So with IVF, you have to get to 8 mm thickness for your womb to be able to hold on to that embryo. And mine was stopping at 7 mm for some
Even
reason.
with the injections,
I
because you
was,
said that's mimicking the
yeah, I was
thickening.
taking the highest doses of the progesterone support. My doctor even added Viagra to my cycles. Viagra is supposed to help. I was doing PCP, like all those different PRP, PCP, all the uterine treatments, pampering, just to make sure it gets to 8 mm. And it was stopping at 7. So sometimes they'll cancel the cycle and say, you know what, this is gonna shed. we have overbuilt it artificially and it's not looking okay. Sometimes I would shed before my embryo transfer. Imagine shedding before your embryo transfer, so you'll have to cancel the cycle. So
And money has just gone like that.
yes, you have. So the thing is, with IVF, you can do, there's what they call a fresh cycle and a frozen cycle. Nowadays, frozen cycles have the higher pregnancy rates because your body would have rested. It's like you do a cycle to make your embryos first. What I mean by cycle is you take the drugs, they collect the eggs. You take the drugs to, recruit many eggs and make them grow. So they do the egg collection. Then they do the ICSI, which is carrying your husband's sperm, fertilizing it. But instead of transferring it in that cycle, they let your body rest, get rid of all those hormones that you use to build the eggs. And then they'll tell you to come back maybe after 3 months to get your frozen embryos. So that way your body has rested from all those drugs that you used for the egg collection. And now you have to now take another round of drugs to prepare only your womb. So this time around, it's just your womb getting the heat. It's not your ovaries and then your uterus at the same time. So that's why they've recorded higher success rates. So most times they'll tell you just come do a cycle to make your embryos first. Go and rest. 3 months, come back, come and get them. So that way you will know, okay, how many embryos do I have? How many am I freezing? They'll give you the grades of the embryos. They'll tell you, okay, I think you should freeze this, leave this ones. And if you need to do all those PGD, I want a boy, I want a girl, if you have any genetic issues, that's when you test and make sure that your embryos are good. So when you come back, it's good to go. But for me, I'll finish doing fresh one. Then I'll now come back to do frozen one. After building my uterus, beauty,
All the thickening that just stops 1 millimeter short.
it will just stop there. And then it's to start shedding. Before. And then the ones that don't shed, I'll not get pregnant. And then 2 a.m., maybe at 3 months, I'll just feel one kind of pain. And I'll just know it's out. And
No warning.
No warning. And that's with me sitting down or not doing anything. You know how doctors will say, no, you don't need to be sitting down. You're good, Nancy. Don't go about your business. But I'm like, I beg, I don't want to. You know how you are careful. You don't want to blame yourself that, oh, it's because I was going up and down. That's why this thing came down. And then after being careful, just wake up at 2 a.m. one day and just see that the whole bed is soaked. So that's the thing. The way it's really, really painful. But
and there's nothing that can be done to prevent it or to make you less disposed to it, because you're saying you were resting so that they won't say I was doing too much activity.
It's not even resting. Sometimes it's like I look at it like, okay, maybe this is God not wanting us to have maybe a special needs or like a child with deformity or whatever. But miscarriages are like, it's a natural selection thing. It's like the body's way of telling you that this is not going to be a viable pregnancy or something may be wrong somewhere. So better get rid of it now than wait. But I'm grateful for all the times that it happened, because every time I see the tam, I'm just like, wow, tam. Like, look at all the stress that we had to go through. But
and how many times?
Oh, I don't even like counting. But like when there was a time I sat down and I took records of all the clinics that we went to, and I put together all the cycles, but the cancelled ones, because even though you cancel a cycle, you're still taking drugs.
Yes.
But your uterus just decided to shed before your embryo transfer. That's still a lot of injections to ignore. But imagine I did 4 IUIs and 2 medically assisted injection assisted, and then almost 8 IVF cycles. I'm talking fresh 2 clinics and then frozen transfers. 3 were cancelled because of embryo, lining shedding. And it's just a lot. And all those times,
over
medications were, like 2-3 years.
Wow.
I was still online, I was still posting.
I'm sure I was still even DMing you asking about radiance and not knowing what you're going through.
The thing is, I managed. So most times when I think about it, like, how was I even coping that period? I know that God is amazing, because I have a very supportive family. Like, my family is very supportive. My father, my husband is like, yo, you need to stop. So the thing is, with him, he doesn't care. He's like, anyone is okay. If you had to,
so how did you come about it, or what led you to say, okay, we're going to try this surrogacy. I'm like, this body thing is taking it. So was it the doctor that said you have to stop? Or
Yes.
okay.
So my doctor, Dr. Gunkinle, was like, maybe we should try this our lining that we've been trying to build up, and it's just behaving anyhow. And that thing happened after I took out my implanon implant. So I know that thing has messed up my system. I don't know for how long it's gonna be, but he was like, I think we should try and see if this is gonna stick if you use somebody else. When he said it the first time, I was like, "Wait, what?" I mean, also I'm an IVF nurse. I've managed people's cycles with surrogacy before, so I was like, what's that? What's that? No, no, I've not reached that level now. I can't. Come on. Maybe it's just, you need to just try one more. He's like, Nancy, you've done it times 8. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You don't know. No, no, no. Let us try this. So he was actually the one that said, it's okay. If you're going to, I'm not going to do any cycle for you anymore. Because I think he felt like I was deflecting a lot. I was trying to say, oh no, it's okay. He was like, no, it's not a normal thing for somebody to go through this many miscarriages and this many issues, this many shedding. You need to stop. It's okay. I'm not gonna do it except to go somewhere else. And to me, he was the best doctor that I know of in Nigeria. And I was like, I don't want to go anywhere else. He's like, no, you need to. I'm not gonna do any more cycles for you, Nancy. That's it. You're done. And I'm like, no, you don't get to tell me when I'm done. You don't get to tell me when I'm done. I want to try. There's this thing about you believing that the next one is going to be the one.
Yes.
So I know that a lot of people that have tried to conceive before, they know this feeling. It's always this, try one more time. You wake up one morning and you're like, let's go again, let's try again. It becomes a sport. It's like, no, I trust God. I know, I have faith. Everything is going to work out. So that's what I was going through. I just had this faith that this next one, I know, I feel it. So that's how we ended up with 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank God for the doctor that was just looking out for your best interest
He
and
was
your
like,
health.
yeah, you're done. Yeah. He said, I'm not doing it. Well, you could go somewhere else. You know how you always say, leave me alone. Yeah, go somewhere else. I'm not going to do this for you one more time. So he was the one that said, okay, I'm going to WhatsApp you some agencies. Go and, me doing your inquiries. It's going to cost you a lot. But if you are really serious
When you
about
say
this,
a lot, how much? Like, you can give a range. You don't have to give the
whatever.
exact thing, because some people think that this is the easy way out, and
It's not easy. Or even the IVF now is 5 million, 6 million per cycle. Yeah. So imagine, yeah. Then it was still even better. Like when we were
5
trying, it was still
million,
like
6
it was
million
still like
naira per
1.5 to that time. Then the last time we did IVF, it was 3.6. So I just recently found out that it is now 6M
Wow.
for a full cycle, and that's with freezing your embryos. So
That's separate from the surrogacy cost,
oh
like the
yes.
agent, the
No,
surrogate.
surrogacy is a different ball game. So with surrogacy, you need to either have your embryos ready or you start the cycle with them. So the agency I used does the end-to-end package. But for me, I already had embryos. I had embryos in 2 different clinics. So I even had to choose like, where do you want me? Where?
Many more.
Where should I send you? So I had embryos and I had options. So some people were like, oh, let's start from the beginning with this agency. But I was just like, I'm done taking injections. Either use what I have or, thankfully the first embryo we put into the first surrogate in the first cycle just became tam tam.
Wow.
It was the first time. It is very expensive. Surrogacy in Nigeria now is from at least 15 million.
That's a lot of money.
Yes.
And the surrogate is going to do IVF or IUI, right? To be able to.
No, the surrogate gets to prepare her lining.
Okay.
So it still involves injections. Yeah, but if you already have your embryos, fine. But there are 2 types of surrogacy. Traditional surrogacy is when the genetic material of the woman who's the angel who is willing to help you is used. So her eggs.
Oh, there's that?
Yes,
didn't know
there's that.
that.
There's some women that honestly cannot. They're menopausal. They still want
Okay.
children, so they have to use donor eggs.
Okay.
Some agencies offer, like they want the person that donated the eggs to carry the baby. So they use like a donor sperm, fertilize the woman's eggs, and the woman will carry that child. That's her own child, though. But in Nigeria, they don't really offer that because it's too much for a woman to get let go of. So when a woman is giving out her womb, she shouldn't be giving out her eggs as well. That's just too much. But gestational surrogacy is what we do mostly here. Gestational is when you just don't know anything about the genetic material. All you're offering is your womb to help the family. So which is, and then of course they're educated enough to know that, okay, that's not your child. I know you're going to bond with that child during pregnancy, but you have to let go. So they understand that, they sign. There's a very hefty legal side to surrogacy. So they sign, and they are made aware that it's not your baby. You're carrying this child. You're offering your womb because you want to help this family. So, but it's a different ball game if it's our own eggs. It's going to be very hard to let go of your own eggs. But that's what they used to. That's the traditional surrogacy. That's what people used to do in those days. But nowadays, it's like no. That's too much. Yeah, offering your uterus, that's more than enough for a woman to offer.
Did you get to choose the actual surrogate, or the agency just says, okay, this is what you want, this is the person that we're...
Yeah, so the agency has, it's not like, when it comes to surrogacy, you don't really have a choice. It's like you're choosing wombs or what.
Because I've had this conversation with my sister, my younger sister, and she was like, you can't even be my surrogate because you don't even eat well.
What?
That the person that is going to be surrogate is the one that does exercise, eats like a good diet, and does this and exercises and everything. So I was like,
you only get to choose, you only get a profile when you're choosing gametes. So when you're choosing sperm, you're choosing eggs. You want to know, okay, who your egg donor is, or your sperm donor is. Yeah, I want blue eyes, I want to, that they offer it in Nigeria now. So I guess that's the only time people get to choose. But when it comes to surrogacy, that's a lot to give someone. You don't get to choose. So the agency tells you, oh, we have somebody ready right now, ready to take your embryos. So it takes a long time to prepare the uterus. Like I said, like 6 weeks ish.
So that person has to
wait
be
for a
injected.
period and start taking certain medications, even vaginal pessaries, just to get...
What are vaginal pessaries?
They're like tiny, like the from here of my finger. You insert it inside it's like progesterone hormone.
Okay, like
hormonal,
a tablet.
Yes, but they dissolve once they enter your vagina. You stick it up into the vagina, and it just dissolves, and the medication is absorbed into the mucous membrane of the vagina, so it protects. It sort of like helps.
And then they'll still artificially not inseminate. They will deliver the zygote, right? Yes. So that's what I remember embryo. From embryo. Yes, the embryo. Mm-hmm. That is ready. That's your husband's sperm, your egg is ready for implantation, and then they just deliver it to the person's womb. Oh wow, like
it's a lot.
It is.
I know.
And does the agency like make you sit down with the person? You guys have discussions. Like my sister will say, eat like this, exercise like this.
No.
Go swimming, don't go swimming.
Nah. So we surrogacy in Nigeria. So that's the thing. A lot of people think it's such a lucrative business. So you can't just give your genetic material to any agency. So what we did was anonymous surrogacy. The only thing I know about Angel is her name and her test results, and details of the actual pregnancy. When she goes for the scans, they'll send us all her first name, not even her last name.
Oh wow!
You don't get to know anything about yourself.
You don't meet the person.
You never get to meet the person. Okay. That's the good thing about having, because it's a lot of things have happened from when it comes to life. emotions can get all over the place. People can get so attached.
Even
And
after they've signed, they've
oh
been
yeah,
paid, because
even
it's
after,
not
because
free.
it's not free, but
It's also
it's
not
the
easy.
greatest sacrifice. You're risking your life
Life.
basically to carry a child for this family. So sometimes people just get so attached, like they know it's not their genetic material. In Nigeria, sadly, there's no law when it comes to surrogacy. Do you know? Yes.
I didn't know this.
There are provisions that right now the house is trying to, get some laws into.
Wait, there are no laws?
No. Actually, there's no law on surrogacy itself. There are laws, we're just cutting and joining.
Yeah,
The law
so you
from
take from
protecting
here,
children.
you take
the law-
from there.
yes.
But so the house has not sat down
That's
and
what they're
thought
trying
like
to do
this thing
now.
is important enough for us
That's
to
what
let.
they're trying to do now, to regulate it, because now people are seeing this. A lot of issues are coming up. A lot of women are being abused. People are getting trafficked. People are getting abused because of this. Like there are baby factories
That's
now.
what I was just going to say.
Yeah, so people are there needs to be like a straight
To protect the family and also to protect the surrogates.
Yes.
So I
These
guess
are-
the agency you use is very important. Like
it's very
you
important.
mentioned your doctor gave you a list, but when you were doing your due diligence, what was important to you?
Okay, so I visited 4 agencies. When you go to an agency, you just know, you be like, do I want to bring my my embryo here? Like, what's going on here? When you enter a place, an agency, and it's one room, and you're like, oh, where is the facility? Well, how do you treat your surrogates? Can I see? And they're not allowing you to see what you want to see. You'd be like, okay, I don't think people are transparent enough. So transparency was what made me choose the agency that I chose. I chose Meet Surrogate Mothers because, first of all, this woman was documenting every single thing about her own process. She'd been there for a decade. So I knew somebody who had their child via MSM. So I was like, okay.
What is MSMs?
It's Meet Surrogate Mothers. That's the agency's name.
Meet
So
Surrogate
mother.
Mothers.
So
Okay.
I went to that agency, and it was a proper facility. So they had provisions for any type of emergency. Like they had standby, and they took good care of their surrogates. So that's what I saw first, and I was like, so they don't force any surrogate to stay. Because you have to protect the rights of people. People want to offer their wombs. They're not saying you should imprison them because, when your
They're
sister
not
was saying, they have to eat well, they have to exercise. How are you going to make sure of that? So the thing is, you're dealing with adults, and they
Yes.
use mostly women that are single mothers because for obvious reasons. They don't want somebody to come and say, that's my wife, the child there is my own. So they use mostly single mothers who are.
So must you have given birth to become
you
a
must
surrogate?
have had a live birth.
A live birth.
Yeah, so
Okay.
so they have mature women who understand what they are in for. It's not a child's play. So when you see that type of agency, you go in, you see that people are just going about their business. You see all the technology everywhere. It's like a proper agency. Documentation is there, and there's proof of live birth. There's proof of everything that they do. I mean, if you go on her page, you see how she takes her deliveries. She posts her deliveries every single time. So it's like, that's what I was looking for. And these other agencies were being sort of like secretive about their process. I just wanted to know that the surrogates were being taken care of, and they were not showing me that. So I was like, how much are you going to pay
Yes,
them?
like their feeding
Yeah,
allowance.
Tell me that.
health.
And they'll be like, no, you don't worry.
No, mother to mother, you want to know now.
So that you have to choose based on who is going to take care of your surrogate the most, because the more care your surrogate receives, the more care your own child receives. So you can tell from all these other agencies that they don't even have people on standby. MSM had women just waiting for embryos. People, it was when I even went there at some point, somebody was crying saying that, please, I want to do one more. They said, no, I'm sorry, it's only
I
once.
was just going to ask,
Yeah,
can
I'm not
you do
allowed
it
to do it because it's
only
CS.
once?
Yes, you give birth via CS, and it's not a joke. You want to do CS 2 times because they gave you plenty money the last time, and you're like, oh, now I was so rich, I want to come back. And like, oh, you can't do
Wow.
it anymore. People were begging.
But I've heard of women that have had like multiple.
CS, but then when you're doing it for someone, you mentally, you will not realize it immediately. But when you go through CS twice and you're looking at two scars, and the baby is not there. And you finish spending that money, because most times, sadly, a lot of times, when they receive that huge fat check, these women sometimes do not manage it properly. And sometimes they get carried away. They don't realize that they just did something remarkable, something amazing. But they look at it as, oh, it's money, it's money. I have all this money now. Oh my God. They don't realize that they just put their body through. Pregnancy is not a joke.
It's life or death.
It's life or death. But they feel like, oh, because I went, it's nothing now. Waiting the day, no be serious. But then 5 years down the line, you're having this mental breakdown, and you're wondering where it's coming from. It's like, where's the child from this car? Where's the child from this? So they don't really want them to go through that twice. But people in Nigeria, women want to do it 3 times. They'll go to one agency, they say, no, this year, so I use about my picking video, so not be here. They will go to another agency. I'm like, wow,
Well, it's good that the agency is also putting these measures in place, because they're also thinking about the mental health of the surrogates, not just because some will just say, okay, it's not to be making money.
It's not that serious. It's not. It's I said it's that serious, because sometimes even mid-pregnancy, they can break down, and that's your baby inside them. You need them to be the healthiest they can be. You need them to be mentally stable, because they're going about Lagos with your Peking.
So do they send you pictures of scans? Like, how are you able to follow the journey?
Yes. So the thing is, your agency again matters, because if you want to breastfeed, you have to indicate that. So they pair you with a lactation consultant, the doctor, very early on. So you, as the intending parent, you start taking your own medication. So for me, I had to start drinking. That's why I got to 90 kilos. I was taking medications because I wanted to breastfeed. I did exclusive for my older 2 children. So I was like, God, please, I don't want to feel distant to this child, because, every day I used to take the photo from this card, and I'll pray for this. I'll pray for Tamta, and I'll be like, God, please keep Tamta, let her grow well. Everything should be fine. But then they were like, oh, do you want to breastfeed? I was like, yes. I was so happy, because I was like, wow, an opportunity to finally bond with a child that I felt like, oh my God, this child is so distant. I don't even know what's going on in her surrogate's mind right now. Like, how is she? That went through my head for months. I was like, oh God, you know how you're counting down?
Yes.
And you're not even carrying the pregnancy. Yes. But I was like, wow, if only I could breastfeed. And so when they offered me that option, I was so happy. I was like, wow.
Knowledge is power. I would never have known this was possible.
I breastfed for 5 months, and it was the best feeling. It was the best. Like, I'm just like, God bless whoever, all the doctors, all the science. God is amazing, because you start taking medications when your surrogate is 4 months pregnant, and by the time she gives birth, you have milk.
Wow.
It's crazy. So it's like you're bonding with your child immediately, and it's just much easier for you to bond.
And when you think about family, like, what was the reaction of family members? The ones who first knew about it, the ones who found out afterwards? Did you get a lot of support? And because maybe there are some people watching and they think, I would like to do this, but they don't know how to go about, getting their family on board.
Family, so like I said, my family, they were amazing. My father, my husband, my father he's the prayer warrior, so he had been praying all the IVF cycles that became successful. He was praying behind, he was making sure that everything was, he was calling, my husband was amazing. We don't really have too many extended people that we really care, but I don't really give I don't know if I can say it. I don't give a hoot about people's opinion.
Your opinion does not matter.
Like, excuse me, it's not your family that is increasing. It's my own family. So my sisters were amazing. They were like, it's a lie. My younger sister, Cora, was like, wait, what? Is it that serious? What is wrong with you, this girl? Like, why can't you just carry this your boy and girl and free the matter, but still have more children? So when I told her that our surrogate was pregnant, she said it's a lie. And I said, don't tell anybody. She was so excited. She wanted to come on. I have to tell anybody. I said, if you tell anybody. So she said, okay. I said, I'll calm down. But they were so excited. And they were like, God, I hope this doesn't come down, because, they were aware of all the miscarriages. They were like, hey, God, I beg, we'll let this baby just stay. That's what they were concerned about. Everybody I told in my family, they were so excited. nobody had any issues with reproductive technology because thankfully we are all educated and we understood. Maybe I just carried them along. Like I would come to my family group and send a video of me injecting myself. I say, "Oh Jesus!" They'll say, "Who sent you?" Oh my God! And I'm like, "Why are you complaining? Must you have 10 children?" I'm like, I'm just telling you people because it's painful. They're like, "Well, sorry, but who sent you?" Well, like it was lighter. Everybody was, they're cooperative and they're very happy for me. So yeah, I didn't have any resistance. No, none at all.
Well, congratulations, because it
Thank
ended
you.
in
In praise,
praise.
yeah.
And
So
I've seen pictures, I followed the story online,
mhm,
and I'm so happy that you're very vocal about it,
mhm,
because I feel like there are many people that will benefit from this and knowing that this is a viable option. I think my
mhm.
last question will have to be like the greatest lesson, or that one thing that has stood out for you throughout this process, and um, using a surrogate mother.
Well, I don't think I have any. I just feel like this is such a different experience. People like to make it look like, oh, parenting is the same, but you have to put in more effort when you're going through reproductive issues. You have to actually consciously tell yourself that I have to stay strong. I have to pull through. I just have to show up every day because it's very easy to get depressed when you're trying to conceive. What I learned this period was that, Nancy, you have to stand up. You have to come online. Like for me, my outlet was just coming online and just talking about it. So I used to share about it on my stories those days, and that's when people say, "Can you just please keep your mouth shut? Must you tell everybody that you did not see your period this month?" Like it was like, so what? My husband was like, "Wait to concern me." Be doing what you want to do, but I felt so much better every time I would share these things, and my DM would just fill up with people that were going through the same things as me. And I was like, wow, I'm not alone. So I guess what I learned was speak out, just tell somebody, find an outlet, and just don't keep it to yourself because you can easily get depressed if you're trying to conceive and you're just keeping it to yourself. You will feel it. Like you need to. I would share my story and then I will forget I just had a miscarriage. Like that's how it was because when you see 20, 30 messages from different women that had miscarriages, they're like, oh, so you had that pain, yeah? Oh, I went through that same thing. And you're like, see, it's not just me. So why am I like killing myself, making myself feel bad? When you share it, it's like, wow, it's not just me. Oh, I see people. So I used to come across people that had way worse situations than me. I always tell myself, man, I have it good. I have 1, 2 children. I have a boy. I have a girl. What are you complaining about? It's just a miscarriage. That's what I used to end up telling myself. And that automatically made me feel better because I shared. And it was just on my stories, but I would see 50,000 views on my stories. And I'm like,
Wow.
we share my stories to people. I used to normally get 20,000, but when I say, today I want to talk about something, I'll see 50K. There was one day I saw 65,000 views on my 12 stories.
Wow.
I said, people are going through a lot, but they just can't open their mouth. And I felt like it was a privilege that I had that kind of support that would just say, share your thing. My husband was like, what? Do your thing and don't stress me. Just do your thing. And I'm like, do you think it's okay to share? And he's like, do you want to share? And I'm like, yeah. And I'll share it and I'll feel so much better. And I'm like, wow, it was like therapy, free therapy. That's what I learned. Open your mouth and talk. When you talk, it just makes everything feel. Trust me, even if it's just your doctor, your family friend, your sister, just tell somebody that, yo, I've been trying. We've been trying. It just makes everything better. To me, that's what I learned. Open your mouth. When you open your mouth, the problem is half solved. Because when you see that you're not even that, your situation is not that bad. By the time you see people were telling me, I was like, what? Nancy, you're blessed though. You're already at one, you have two. Even if I didn't even have any child and I shared, what I would have been seeing would have been enough to encourage me and say, okay, people would encourage you and tell you you're okay. Even if it's your pastor or your friend or your doctor, you just tell somebody That's what I learned. When you tell somebody that you're going through this, it makes everything so much better.
Thank you so much. I wish you had more
I
time,
wish
but
so. I
you
wish
have
so.
touched on so many things. And
Mhm.
yes, the power of your story and that community that you've
Mhm.
been able to
Mhm.
build. So
Mhm.
thank you so much. And
Welcome.
I really hope that you're encouraged, that you know that you're not alone in this journey,
Mhm.
wherever you are, whatever you choose, whichever path you choose. So thank
Mhm.
you again.
You're welcome.
It's still For Families podcast, and this is the segment where I put you on to all the good stuff. What I'm loving now. What I'm loving now are these books. So I don't know. Did you grow up liking Mills and Boone, historical romance, Babysitter's Club, Sweet Valley High, love stories, drama? If you're like me, 90s, I was born in the 80s, but my childhood was in the 90s. I really enjoyed reading a lot. And Mills and Boone is great, but it's always Oyibo Oyibo. It's stories set in foreign lands. It's not situated in Nigeria. But how about having like a love story with our own characters, bearing our own names in familiar places that we know? So this is the Lagos Love Journals, The Lekki Bride. You can see that I'm really loving it because see all the dog ears. Like I took my time and I enjoyed the story. And it's about the Ayo Kensington dynasty. You have like this mother-in-law figure, like she's the duchess. That's what she is, the duchess herself. Then you have this husband and wife. They're dealing with different issues. They have a daughter, and it's set in Lagos, so it's familiar. And I love the fact that it's a love story. I mean, I'm a sucker for love, so I'm one of those people that enjoy reading love stories, and I'm glad that the author, that is Layemi OI, did such a great job. And I really enjoyed this one. There are other two in the series. I've not yet read them. And that's why I said what I'm loving now, as in they hot. So you still have the Lagos Love Journals, Meet the Duchess. Remember, I'd already spoken about her. And then you have the Lagos Love Journals, the Ikoyi Princess. What I like is that after reading this one, which is the Lekki Bride, I got to find out about the Duchess and the Ikoyi Princess. I got a snapshot of it. So as much as I was sad that the story came to an end, I was happy that I can continue the story through other characters. And I love the fact that we're doing more of our own. We're telling more of our own stories. Yes, there's Nollywood. Yes, our music is doing great. But also sometimes you just want, like soft reading, let me put it that way. You just want to be entertained. I love the use of language. It's very conversational. Having grown up in Lagos, I'm a Nigerian, it was very relatable. And the suspense, sometimes you think the story is going one way. When it's man and woman matter, you'll be thinking you know everything. This man is cheating. You now find out that actually he's not cheating. Or this woman, she's going behind her husband's back to go and be talking to her ex-lover. And maybe the ex-lover really wants to promise her, heaven on earth. And how is it going to be? And then it just goes twists and turns, and you keep guessing. What I really loved is the fact that I couldn't predict the story ending. I couldn't predict the different twists and turns, and the pace was very good. Like I didn't feel like it was a drag. Even though I took my time, it was more like I was savoring each page and just enjoying that story build. Well done, Laimi. You did a great job. I can't wait to read the other two novels in the series. And I've spoken to people, and someone in particular, and she said, oh, she's even reread them, because I'm sure you might have seen these books, but in a different form. These are a new edition, same story, but different package, and I'm glad. And that says something, that the stories have stood the test of time. People can enjoy it, and yeah, what's not to love, really? you can relate to the characters because they are not far-fetched. They are people like me and you, and the scenarios are very real, and you build empathy. So I'm glad that somehow, in how busy and hectic things can get, I find time to do something that I really enjoyed doing as a child, which is reading. And I'm reading content that relates to me, reading stories that relate to my everyday living. So, yeah. First of all, shout out to everybody who has left a comment, sent us a question, who has shared, posted. Thank you for supporting the mission here on For Families podcast. This segment is where we deal with, or I try best to answer your burning questions. And trust me, as a parent, as a child, as a sibling, there's always one thing or the other. I think for me, today's burning question is a question that I've had to ask myself, and I've had to answer it too. So this is what has worked for me, or what is working for me. I would also like to have your own views, and which is, how do I teach my child to learn my own language? So my dad is Yoruba, my mom is half German and half Igbo. So growing up, I only picked up Yoruba when I go and visit my paternal grandmother. On my mother's side, my maternal grandparents, I beg your pardon, spoke German. So I picked up a bit of German, but because we're not living in Germany, it's hard to practice. But visiting my grandmother on my dad's side, hearing Yoruba being spoken between everybody else but me, because my granny will not will speak English to me instead of speaking Yoruba to me. But I was able to pick it up. And later I told her, Mom, you have to be speaking Yoruba to me. And living in a state like Lagos, I found myself practicing the language. You know that I do Alaga. So when people say, how do you do this Alaga? I speak Yoruba, even though I'm Alaga Isabella, Alaga Oloyibo, Alaga Tolo Cambridge. I picked up the language and I'm still brushing up my Yoruba. So I'm thinking, how do I get my children to learn their language? My husband is half Yoruba, half Igbo, and he grew up speaking Igbo because of his mother, who is Igbo, and then he also learned Yoruba from his dad, and yeah, the jury is out on whose Yoruba is better, but I think my Yoruba is better. So what am I doing for my kids? One, whenever possible, I try to speak the language to them. So even if it is, say, ẹ káàárọ̀ mommy, ẹ káàárọ̀ daddy, ẹ káàsán mommy, ẹ káàsán daddy, or joko, sit down, or mukini ewa, bring that thing. So I try to speak. It's not always easy, and I don't always get it right. My husband too tries once in a blue moon. So try and get everybody to speak. It really helped when I had a live-out nanny that spoke Yoruba. She really tried because she would speak Yoruba to them all the time. So they were able to learn Yoruba. The current nanny that we have, one of them speaks Igbo. So they are picking up Igbo, right? And they are Yoruba, Igbo, and German. So they are picking up Igbo because the nanny speaks Igbo to them. So in essence, what I'm saying is you have to speak the language. You have to get the people around you. If you have help, you have caregivers, if they can speak the language, great. They are still young, so we don't have lesson teachers for them, but you could engage the services of a lesson teacher who comes physically, or you can engage them virtually or online. You can use language cards, and we can't run away from screen, so you can ensure that every now and again they watch videos, cartoons, shows that are in their language. And then you can also use flashcards as well. And if possible, you enroll them in a school where they offer language options, not just French and German and Spanish and Mandarin, but actual Yoruba, Igbo, Urobo, Hausa, Fulfulde, whatever language it is. So that's what has helped me in teaching my children their language. I want to get better. So if you can help me, please send me your own feedback to what has worked for you. And that's all we can take on this segment where we answer your burning questions. So if you have a burning question, feel free to get in touch, send a DM, send us a message. The details are on the screen, and we'll try as much as possible to answer it here on For Families podcast. Wow, it was such an honest conversation, and I really appreciate our guest, Nancy Umeh, for coming on and sharing her surrogacy story, but also her story of IVF, IUI. I didn't even know what IUI was till this episode of For Families podcast, till this conversation happened. And also the power of her sharing her story and encouraging others and getting medical advice. Sometimes you see a mother or a father or a family consider assisted reproductive options, and you're wondering why. Do you know that sometimes it could be on the advice of a medical professional? And there are so many things that people consider because people's lives are at risk, the health. I was glad to hear that now the Nigerian government is coming together to pass laws on surrogacy. I think it's important that this conversation is mainstreamed and we don't attach stigma to people who decide to use a surrogate to have their children or do IVF or IUI or even adopt. They are parents irregardless of how their children were conceived or how their children were delivered. I think it's so, so important. And that's one of the reasons why, just reflecting on this conversation, I'm so grateful. It was also good to share, what I'm loving now, which is going back to things that bring me joy, like reading. And sometimes you think, what is there to read? And if you love Mills and Boone, trust me, you will love the Lagos Love Journals. There are 3 in the set. I've read the first one. Love it. Pick up a hobby if that's the only thing. And if reading is it, love stories are your thing, then yeah. Finally, the question on language learning, I think, is by practicing. My kids are too young now to start using the apps, but what we can do is to play songs for them in their local language. But to speak to them both in English and their language. I don't know how they are doing it, but at some point it was Yoruba, now is Igbo. And yeah, that's what it is really. Please, if you have any questions, send them in. If you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Joe, Biko, how many languages should I speak? Subscribe, hit the bell so that you get notifications. And if you want to support us, it's very easy. Follow us on our social media platforms. Share our content on your stories. Tell people to tell people and watch it. Really, this is the podcast where we have conversations on parents, on children, for families. My name is Isabella Adediji, and I've had such a great time today. And I can't wait to come back next time with yet another episode of For Families podcast. Till then, have a great day, night, whatever the time you're watching. But it's bye-bye from me.